The MobTube Chronicles 1 and the MobTube Chronicles 2 are on Amazon and on Amazon Kindle now. Please be sure to get your copies today.
Hello, top of the evening to you all. Normally I do my St. Paddy's Day thing, but I didn't today. I kind of celebrated a little bit over the weekend, but it kind of fell on a funny day, really, didn't it? It was freezing as well. Anyway, so I just finished watching MRE, Mob Rats Exposed, video on Mr. Calandra here, Jimmy Calandra. And I just have a couple of things I want to say. I will put the channel link in my description, so you can go and watch more Brats Exposed. Make a comment and press the like button, please. But I had a couple of things I wanted to say, so let's listen to Jimmy a little bit here. Now, for those of you that don't know Jimmy Calandra, he was part of the Bath Avenue crew, and when he was real young, a lady got unalived. Do you know, this is so stupid? I don't know why we have to say this. It drives me insane. But anyway, one of his friends, I believe Tommy Reynolds, was the guy that pulled the trigger, and Jimmy ended up ratting on his friends, basically. Now, Tommy Reynolds did 28 years, and I guess he's out. I mean, Jimmy you had to know he was coming out at some point. Anyway, I don't think Jimmy did he ever go in the witness protection program? Someone tell me in the comments. I'm not sure. I don't think Jimmy went into witness protection. I think he did a few years, in the slammer, and when he came out, I'm assuming he went straight back to his old neighborhood. Now, for the last 5 years or so, he started a channel. He's going around the old neighborhood, talking about this, that, and the third. And, when I first saw Jimmy, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I don't dislike the man. MRE, I understand why he feels the way he does. Nick drove for Rudolph, a mob boss, for more than 12 years. He was in the line of fire every day. So, and he's lived that life, even though it didn't appear to that. But I write a book about that all in my book, Mob Chronicles 2, and, about Nick Colacone. And, he feels the way he does about rats and informants, I kind of look at it differently. I've said it before. I look at case-by-case basis, what was the reason, whatever. I mean, the reason always is we don't want to do more time. I mean, that's obvious. In some cases, I think, what would I have done? I put myself in that position. There are certain people I think, I might have, if I'm looking at that, maybe. In Jimmy's case, though, he wasn't actually he didn't pull the trigger, but he was present. So they're all charged with the same thing. Did he need to rat? No. I think Nick's right as far as he should have just done his time and got out. He'd have been fine. I don't really get why he did, to be honest. But anyway, here you go. So Tommy Reynolds has done 28 years and is now out. Now, I saw this video the other day. I was scrolling through and I kind of caught a bit of it, but I didn't watch the whole thing. So I watched it tonight on Nick's Live. And oh my God, Jimmy, what is you doing? What are you doing, man? I mean, my God, I don't know what to say. I'm like shocked. Why are you getting in your car disheveled like that? You look like you've been on a bender. You look like you haven't had any sleep. Has something gone on? Because here's the thing, you know, okay, let's say Tommy Reynolds is out and they're telling you watch your back. Rightly so. I mean, if I'm Tommy Reynolds, I'm thinking, 28 years, and you're all this time you've been wandering around the neighborhood, telling these different stories. I mean, would I be thinking something? Maybe, but from all accounts, nobody's threatened you. Nobody's said anything. Let's have a little listen to this. All right, hold on. I mean, Jimmy, what is you doing, man?
Out there. I'm saying how the world has changed, and it didn't change for the better, it changed for the worse. I'm saying at the end of the day, you have to make your life better. You have to choose the people you put in your life. You have to choose the decisions you make very carefully, because one decision can make your life more difficult or put you in a worse position that you're in, But at the end of the day, the world has changed. You know what I mean? This neighborhood is not the neighborhood it once was. Years ago, Beth Avenue, across the street was Nick's Candy Store, Marrakesh. That used to be Anthony Sparrow's Social Club. The grocery store, Grace Deli, that used to be Nick's Candy Store. Then you got that white door in the middle. That's another story I'm going to tell you something about, okay? The other day, I'm in a newsstand, and there was a little girl that used to live over there. Her name was Maria, a little Italian girl. And I'm standing online, and I'm behind her, and she looks at me. She says, "Jimmy." I says, "Yeah." I said, "Who are you?" I said, "Your face looks familiar." She says, "I'm Maria. Remember, I used to live on top of Nick's Candy Store." I said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Wow." I said, "You know what? I remember you. You were so young." I said, "How old are you now?" She said, 50. I'm 56. So I was 6 years older. But anyway, she was a beautiful kid. I remember her parents. And she said, "Jimmy, is your mother still alive? Your mother was such a great person, always talking about God, always helping everybody." I said, "Nah, I lost my mother about 16 years ago." But getting to the subject, what I want to talk about, the message is that, you run into people from years ago. So you see these familiar faces. I'm in and out of the neighborhood. My children's grandmother lives in the neighborhood. No.
See, this is the thing as well, Jimmy. Why are you in the neighborhood? You ratted on all these people. I mean, I know Tommy Reynolds. I'm not sure who else. They all come from this neighborhood. You've got two daughters that you need to be thinking about. Why would you? And then you're riding around. Okay, the windows are blacked out, so no one can really see who the hell's in the car anyway. But the point is, why aren't you thinking of your daughters? I don't understand this, because at the end of the day, all right, you ratted, you did what you did. You look actually riddled with guilt. I always believed Jimmy when he said he was so sorry about what happened to that woman. I really believe that. I believe he is. I think he's racked with guilt. He doesn't look like he sleeps at night at all. And he's probably racked with guilt for ratting, but by you're poking the bear, Jimmy. You're poking the bear. I mean, you say you were kind of, all right, you're on the outskirts of the mob, but from what I know of the mob, and not that I've ever been in the mob or none of the above, but, it's omerta, that's really the core of the mob. And you know how they operate, or you ought to know how they operate. Tommy Reynolds is not going to do 28 years. And the first thing he does when he comes out is start looking for you, Jimmy, to hurt you and your family. I'm pretty sure he's got more sense than that. And from what I understand, anyway, I wouldn't see, even if it were in his head, is he going to come and sort you out? I doubt that. Don't they normally send a friend, or is that just in the movies? But Jimmy, I just feel like you're poking the bear. The past is the past. What's done is done. It's like you're reliving the past here. It's over with. Go home, take care of your girls. I don't know what you're doing, but you're looking pretty bad right now. Pretty bad. Let's continue.
Nobody knows, but I had children with Georgie's sister, Georgina Adamo. I'm saying, so this is just a message. So I ran into somebody a little earlier. I went to get a cup of coffee, and they said, Tommy Reynolds is in the neighborhood. This one's in the neighborhood. Be careful. This is my message to everybody, okay? I'm a grown-ass man. The same way I made my decision to cooperate, I will make my next decision as a man. But this is not a warning. This is just, listen, I'm a grown-ass man, okay? If anyone ever threatens my children or someone I love or myself, there will be a fucking massacre. And that's on everything the fuck I love. That's not a threat. That's common sense. I'm just letting you know. When I say there's a beginning, there's an end, that's what I mean. Don't fuck with my family. Don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with people I love. And I won't do the same to you. Because in all honesty, I honestly don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. This way everyone knows out there. Of none of you motherfuckers. This way you know. I'm a grown-ass man. I don't give a fuck. Okay? This way you know. Look at my eyes. This way you know. I don't give a fuck. Okay? But that's my message for today. But everyone.
Well, I guess the message is for, hold on. Let me stop that. Okay. Hang on a minute. All right. I guess the message must be for Tommy Reynolds, I'm assuming. But I'm just going to say this, Jimmy, unless you've actually been threatened and your family's been threatened, you've brought it onto YouTube. Don't you have a handler? Do you have a handler still or what? I thought when you cooperate and whatever, they assign you a handler for life. That's who you should be talking to if you feel that way. But you bring it on YouTube, it's a big mistake. Or you bring it on YouTube so that if something does happen, everybody can look to Tommy Reynolds. Is that what you're doing? I'm not sure. But you need to remember, you have 2 daughters at home and a wife, I think. Worry about that. Stop roaming the streets living in the past. It's done. It's over with. I think I do believe you have deep regret. I do. It's written all over your face. There are times, where you can just see it. I know that you're sorry about what happened to the woman, but sorry, it's not going to bring the woman back. And I'm quite sure her family don't really give a shit if you're sorry or not, and nobody would. But for the love of God, if you're going to come on and do a live, first of all, shave and sort yourself out because you're looking really rough. I don't know what's going on over there, but maybe you were threatened or whatever. But if you bring it on YouTube, you're going to get reactions, And when you think about it, is Tommy Reynolds going to just run out after doing 28 years and come and attack you and your family? I don't think so. And like I said, don't they send a friend when you're least expecting it? It could be a couple of years from now. But I don't understand why you keep wanting to poke the bear. Why not just let the sleeping dogs lie and, go home and be a dad to your kids and husband to your wife, and you know, you're out of this now. You're out of this now. But it's like you're inviting trouble, if you will. You know, that's what I see when I look at this. Anyway, let's listen to a little more.
Pure evil. All scum of the earth is down here. Okay? You have to pick and choose who you put yourself around and who your friends are. Pick the good people, not the scum of the earth. Okay? Because you got a lot of scum out here. And that's my message of today. Be careful who you pick as a friend, because that friend will be a foe later. I'm saying? But I hope everyone enjoys their day today. This is actually a good message, nothing crazy, just someone I seen. I wanted to put this out there. I'm saying, I wish everyone a good life. Do what you have to do for yourself, for your family, the most important people in your life. The most important people in my life are my children. I love these kids more than anything on the face of the earth. My greatest masterpiece. I love them. I love them more than I love the air.
Well, if that's true, Jimmy, your ass would be in the house or at work or doing something else instead of sitting in the blacked out car, really making underlying threats to whoever. You know, I'm assuming you're responding to Tommy Reynolds being out. Maybe somebody said something. I mean, I don't know, because you're not really saying on here what it really is. You know, when MRE did his live, I said something must have happened. Something has happened. You know, but you don't always have to take the bait, Jimmy. You don't always have to take the bait. You got 2 kids at home. You basically were given a new lease of life, a second chance when you did cooperate. So use it wisely. You know, and it's no good spouting about God and all the rest when you're ready to take people's eyes out and cut the throats. You know, and rolling around Brooklyn. Where is it? Brooklyn you're in? You know, why are you roaming around doing that shit? Get your ass in the house. Have a cup of tea and sit down somewhere. All right? Now, let's get to the end of it.
That's how much I love my kids. I love my kids more than anything. And that's what my parents taught me. That's how much my parents loved me. My parents taught me love. They taught me about Christ. They taught me good things. And then they moved to Beth Avenue. My parents separated, and this is where my life was cursed, over here on Beth Avenue. You know what I'm saying? And there's also a video on Born on Record, Michael D. Leonardo's son, Michael Jr. He put out a video. You know what I mean? Now, back in the day, when I was a kid growing up, unfortunately, my dad moved to Manhattan, and my mom was on Bay 16th Street, and I looked up to a lot of people, a lot of wise guys I looked up to. Back then, the Italian thing was the thing to be, you know? And the wise guys I looked up to, some of them were good guys, some of them were creeps, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, Mikey Scars was one of the guys that he would scoop us up. He would drive us to work, Western Beef. There was a couple locations. He used to work for the Castellanos, Frankie Castellano, another great guy. I enjoyed his company when I was a kid. But these guys, I put myself around because I was looking for guidance. I was looking for acceptance. I was a kid. I'm saying, you don't know who you are until, you know, you find out later on in life, you know, who you are. But anyway, Mikey Scars was one of the better guys at that time. You know what I'm saying? I might not agree with him on certain things, maybe people he glorifies, people who thinks that should have statues on Beth Avenue. I don't agree with him on certain things. You know what I'm saying? But he was one of the better guys at that time. I'm saying he tried to take us off the street, give us direction. And unfortunately, you know, our futures were all carved in concrete. Who died, who was murdered, who went to prison, and shit like that. But listen, I'm wishing everyone a great day. But check out on Born on Record on YouTube channel.
Okay. Jimmy, take your ass home, have a hot bath, have a nice shave, put your jimmies on or something, and have a cup of tea and put your feet up, and stop roaming around these streets reminiscing the past. I mean, unless something has happened, I mean, I get it, but you know, it's not a good look, you know, sitting in your car looking crazy. You know, people think, I mean, people think you're on drugs. I mean, you could well be, I don't know. But you look like you haven't slept in a week, I know that. And you need a good shave. In fact, MRE showed a video when you went to Sammy's house, remember? I mean, the difference is night and day. Night and day. You know, I don't know what's gone on in the last 5 years, but I really don't. But you know, this isn't it. You need to be at home with your kids and your wife, and you know, living your life. I don't know why the hell you would have moved back there anyway after ratting on everybody, because you just, you know, you normally wouldn't. I know the neighborhood has changed. It's a different people now, but these people are just starting to get out of prison now, Jimmy. And you're always going to, as long as you're there, you're always going to be looking over your shoulder. Maybe think about relocating to Florida or something. I mean, there's a lot of mobsters down there too, but, you know, most of them are, you know, have cooperated, so you'll be all right. You know, get the hell up out of there. You know, something like that's what I would do. You know, go and relax in the sun or something. But roaming around, is it Bath Avenue in Brooklyn? I don't know. Well, you know, roaming around Bath Avenue and reminiscing about old days. I mean, that's one thing. You've done that many times, you know, and it's interesting when you first did it, kind of showing where everything was and whatever. But, you know, it seems to be a constant on your mind and you're not looking well at all. So that's it for me. Anyway, everyone have a wonderful St. Paddy's evening. See you all soon. Bye now.